it safe. Thanks, guys.
I feel sorry for the youth out in the pod this morning. It's rather chilly today, so they got the heating on there, so it's. I'm sure they'll get toasty quite quick. Oh, right. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to be up front with you. I like being honest. I'm using an old message today from a few years ago, three or so years ago, that I'm going to be using. I had planned to revamp it and revise it. I don't often do this, but as some of you are aware in the room, and maybe some of you at home who are watching on YouTube, I've been in the hospital sort of 4 or 5 times this week. Our daughter's been in hospital, been very poorly, and so I actually haven't even had a chance to look at these notes very much, let alone prep a message for you, but it's going to be banging anyway, I'm sure it will be. And so I'm going to set this up this week, and then over the next 3 weeks, really open it up. I want you to get you thinking about something in you. It's going to be really simple today. All I'm going to do is ask you a question. And it's a question that I've asked you before, but probably most of you have forgotten it. And it's this. Should we play it safe? Should we play it safe? Because some of us in here are thrill seekers. Who's more of a thrill seeker? Yeah. the noisy ones, the thrill seekers. Well, some of us are more risk averse. Anyone more like that? Yeah, not even sure you want to put your hand up. You're that sort. Yeah, no, I'm not. People might look, that's dangerous. They'll know who I am. And then you might have people in the room who are a bit more balanced, and some risky things you like, others you don't. And so, should we play it safe is the question I'm asking today. Because today, maybe all I want to do is get you to think about that for yourself, about what type of person you are, and maybe even nudge you into clicking you in another direction than perhaps your natural disposition is, even though it's so incredibly difficult to do. And so in my notes it says here about a story that would have been recent, but it was 3 years ago now, about my 9-year-old boy who's now 12 years old. And we were at the top of Castle Hill. That was when I was being super fit. I was running up and down Castle Hill. This is 2 stone ago. And I was running up and down Castle Hill every day, sort of 10 times up and down it. It's about 100 steps. And I was pretty fit. And we got to the top because we needed a rest, because Joel needed a rest. And he didn't need a rest. I needed a rest. And he asked me about the park that's at Castle Park. There's a big mound, if you don't know it, with stairs going up there. It overlooks a park with swings and all that sort of stuff, slides. And they've just changed the park. In fact, they've just done it again. They've revamped the park there again. And he asked me, how many parks have there been? How often do they change it, Dad? Because he liked the old park. He was angry at the new park. It wasn't as good as the old park. And I'm like, you should have seen the parks when I was a kid. The skies nearly reached heaven. It was like the Tower of Babel. It was right at the top, and God's just like, that's just high enough. And so, he was like, I don't understand why they're changing it. Why have they made it worse? And I told him about when I was a kid, the big slide that nearly reached heaven, and the rocking horse that we used to have. They'd never have them now. The rocking horses that would go backward and forward, that would smash people's teeth in. They were brilliant. I loved them. And so I told him about this, and he was like, why did they get rid of all that old stuff? That sounds brilliant. That sounds much more fun. Why did we get rid of them? And I was like, well, I think health and safety, they were concerned people were getting hurt and all that, so they took them away. The councils were sick of getting sued. And so he said something along the lines, and I love this, he's so like me. That's why we clash heads a lot of the time, because he's so much like me. But I love this about him. He said something along the lines of, well, people should just be more careful. And I was like, amen, brother. I was like, you preach it. The top of the hill. But he did say, he followed up with, but I guess it is he said the government, but probably meant council, the government's responsibility to keep people safe as well. So he was like, So in that little 9-year-old boy, he was conflicted with this battle, even this political battle of freedom and safety and the balance of that all the time that we're fighting against. And he's thinking that, he's well advanced in his years. He can't tie his own shoelaces, but he can think about geopolitics. And so he was really debating that and conflicted about safety and, for him, fun. For me, freedom. And so I asked him this question, which was, would you rather be safe all the time but bored, or not be safe, but have fun? And with that, I hadn't even finished the question, and he went, the second one, because he's wired that way. He's more like me. He was like, I don't want to be safe, but I want to have fun. I don't want to be super safe and be bored all the time. He's thrill-seeking. He likes having fun. He's not scared of many things. He's wired that way. And so you might have worked out he leans toward being risk-seeking, not risk-averse. So like some of you in the room now. And like I remember when we went and played crazy golf. Who loves a bit of crazy golf? Yeah, a few years ago, you weren't allowed to call it crazy golf anymore. You had to call it adventure golf or mini golf or something because it's not quite crazy enough. But I remember we went to the adventure golf in Norwich, and at each hole, he was like, because there's always a hard route, which has a possibility of a hole in one, where there's like a little gap like this or a ramp or something. And every time, I was so proud of him, every time he went for the hard route, he's like, I'm going for it, I don't care. And he got 3 or 4 holes in one on this, and I was brilliant. But sometimes he got stuck behind the windmill or something, and it's like 250 shots to get out because he was determined to do the hard route. I'm going down the risky route. Where me, I've played golf a lot, little mini golf. I'm like, I know this is not my forte. I'm more wrestle men, get them on the floor and go, yay, look how good I am. Fine motor skill. That's not me, I can't do it. I'm like, if crazy golf was on a massive course and you had to smack it as hard as you can and run after the ball, I'd be good at it. But crazy golf, not good at it. It's too fine motor control for me. And so I play it safe. I play it safer. I know if I go that route, I can get it in 2 or maybe 3. And so even though I don't lean that way generally in life, at crazy golf, I made the decision I would play it safe. And I got par on most holes, which is... not normal for me. Me and my wife like to play crazy golf. It's the only thing she can beat me at. She's not here today. She's actually at the hospital with my daughter, so I can say it. But Joel took the hard route every time, in case he got a hole in one. And so, but most of us, most of the time, maybe you can think about when you play crazy golf, what is your technique? But maybe in every single area of your life, actually every single area of your life, I want you to think about, do you play it safe? Because I would argue that most of us play it safe most of the time. Most of us play it safe most of the time in most scenarios with most people. And I've already told you, I'm definitely more risk-seeking than risk-averse compared to most people. I'm more that end of the spectrum. But I do acknowledge in many areas of my life, I do play it safe in many areas, and I would argue probably most areas. Even though I'm a thrill seeker, in most areas of life, I do play it safe. I mitigate risk. You know, as a leader of this organisation and someone who sits on the board of trustees, that's our job. We have to legally mitigate risk. There's financial risk and all other types of risk that come with running an organisation. One of your jobs is to mitigate risk. It's to see risk, evaluate risk, try and mitigate that risk. Not run away from it, but mitigate it. We're trying to minimise it, work within that risk. And so I actually, reflecting upon myself, that's what I'm more like. I do everything I can in my own life and with this organisation, but in my life, to make a safety net. That's what I try and do when I reflect upon it. And then, within that, I then choose the riskiest decision that falls within that safety net. And so it's like, I make sure I'm all right, but then, because I'm lean toward risk, then I can do the risky things within my threshold of safe, what I call the riskiest safe option. And so that's what I do. And my boy's definitely the same. Like we got the privilege of going to Florida this summer, all of my family, me and my 4 kids, and Nanny came along as well. My mum, so there's 7 of us going around Busch Gardens and SeaWorld and all that. And we went to Busch Gardens first, and Joel went on a roller coaster that he went on. So he's 12 now. When he went on when he was like 6, that really scared him, and it was a challenge to him. I want to go on that roller coaster again, and so I was like, let's go on this other one as well, this massive thing. It was all rickety, and he was like, no, Dad, I'm not going on. I was like, what's happened to you? I was like, where's this brave boy? And he's like, no, Dad, I don't mind how fast it goes or high it goes. Don't care. But here's my framework. No upside downs. Doesn't like going upside down. He's a bit of a control freak. I don't know where he gets it from. No backwards. And no dangly, as in dangly feet. Some of the rides you dangle with your feet. And so I went round all the rides, and I was like, oh, nearly all the good ones that I wanted to go and have one of them elements. And I was like, oh, come on, flipping it. And then I saw what is called, I think it's Mako, which is a shark. But I looked at it, it's the highest, fastest roller coaster that I've ever seen. It's awesome, it's really good. And I was like, so, because he's a bit of a detailed black and white sort of kid. I was like, so in theory, you'll go on that one. He's like, does it go backwards? No. Does it go upside down? No. Danglies? No. He was like, all right then. I was like, yay! And we went on it. It was the most terrifying roller coaster we've ever been on. But it was great. But you see, he risk-seeking, but within his framework of safety. And so it's like, I'll do the riskiest thing within the thing that I'm comfortable in. And I think we do that in many areas of life, even if you're risk-seeking. The risky, safe option. Because most of us play it safe most of the time. And so, if that's true, why do we do that? Why do we play it safe most of the time? Why do we play it safe most of the time? And some of you sat there thinking, well, because we're not stupid. Because I'm intelligent. That's why I play it safe most of the time. And there's many psychologists who've argued about this over the years. I remember studying this years ago, Maslow's hierarchy of needs. You might have seen this if you study psychology at all or done sports science or anything in the sciences at all, where Maslow came up with this hierarchy of human needs of what we need in life. And at the bottom being the foundational stuff that we have to have. Without that, everything falls apart. The physiological needs of having to breathe. You know, some of us, we're keen on breathing most of the time. With food, sex, sleep, homeostasis, that's keeping your body within certain temperatures, blood sugar levels, which is ironic. My daughter got diagnosed with type 1 diabetes yesterday. And so homeostasis is what we're all about at the minute and talking about. And excretion, that's a nice thing on a Sunday morning to talk about in church. And so these physiological needs, the foundation of human need that we can't help but always be battling and make sure we have. And it goes up to safety and security, love and belonging, self-esteem and self-actualization. And you don't really need to care about any of that sort of stuff. I could talk for about 100 hours just on self-actualization. And so, but I want to bring you down to the second one, just above all the basic human needs, which is our needs for safety and security. Our need to feel safe and secure, even if you're super risky sort of person, or you're one of the people who are risk averse. All of us, we just have a slightly different metric of measuring it. We all need safety. We all need the feeling of security, even if it's just a feeling of security. And that can be security of body, of employment. Some of you need to know that you're employed. You couldn't be running around on a 0 hours contract going around the world. Most of us need security in resources, need to have at least a little bit in the bank to know that we can get through hard times. Morality, family, health, all these things we need, Maslow would say. These things in our life. We need them to function properly and healthily. It's part of our hierarchy of needs of what we want. It's normal. It's just how we're built, and there's reasons for it, which we won't go into today. But nearly all of us fear losing something more than we are excited about gaining something. That's the natural human condition, the natural disposition, the natural setting, the default programming for most of us, is that we fear losing something that we've got more than we would risk it and to gain something else. That's generally how we're wired. Because we like having that safety net. So do we play it safe? Should we play it safe? Well, before we get into that, let's quickly talk about what do I mean by playing it safe? What do I mean by playing it safe? Because some of you have already deleted it and gone, no, don't do that. Or yes, I do, and I'm comfortable. I want to talk about the breadth of what we mean by playing it safe. For me, I know what that is. Planning ahead. I love planning ahead. Some of you, you like 2 days, 3 days. Some of you a month. My mate Matt down here will tell you, I'm like decades ahead. I'm such a loser. 20 years ahead, I'm thinking about even retirement and when my kids have got kids and stuff. I'm planning them things out in my mind and even on paper and even on an Excel spreadsheet. I'm that way wired. And I know what I'm doing. This isn't just visionary, although it's part of that as well. Part of it is mitigating risk. Part of it is I want to build something and be safe and be able to control it. I'm playing it safe in that area. And that's not right or wrong, but it's playing it safe. Maybe choosing things that promote you being comfortable, whatever area that is in your life. choosing them things are playing it safe. Making choices that have a near guaranteed outcome. Like, where's the fun in that? Making choices that have a near guaranteed outcome. You know what you're getting. No or little risk or little loss or little hurt. Nothing can happen because I haven't put anything on the line. Maybe for some of you it's playing it safe is going along with the narrative in the culture that most people agree with, or in your workplace or in your family. You just go along with it, you just shut up. You're just playing it safe because you don't want to rock the boat. For some of you, it's about the decisions you make at work or church or in relationships that have the fewest short-term repercussions. Some of you are wired like that. It's like, if I have to do this, make this decision that's going to rock the boat at all, or someone's going to get upset or might even just question and go, why have you done that? I won't do that, just in case. I'm playing it safe. Keep everyone happy now, in the now, today, in this moment. That's playing it safe. Or avoiding difficult conversations that you need to have. Or avoiding any sort of action or decision that might incur some sort of judgment from somebody else. Or choosing any path that doesn't generate any fear in you is playing it safe. Or maybe not trying something new just in case you fail. Some of us are terrified of failing, and so we won't try anything new, and that's playing it safe. The list is endless. I could go on for hours about the different types of playing it safe. So I want to ask you to ask yourself, do you play it safe? Do you play it safe? Now, someone who's grown in this area hugely is my good friend Matt in the corner down here. He was honestly the most sort of conservative, like risk of like controlling everything, no change sort of person. Over the last few years, he's embraced it, gone double foot in. But one way that that's been reflected in a really simple way, and some of you won't like this, but we like playing poker. Like playing poker. I don't play for money. I'd be rubbish in Vegas. I'd go in with like, what's the smallest chip you can get? Like $1? I don't know, I've never been. Like, and I'd be like, can I split this like 10 ways so I can play 10 different games with this dollar? Where's the food? That's what I come for. But we play poker for fun, Texas Hold'em, and Matt, oh man, he'd drive me mad. I'm more of a I don't even make a decision. I'm just like, all in. You haven't even looked at your cards. Yeah, but it's getting late. But Matt, for so many years, honestly, there'd be like a moderate hand on the table, and he'd spend like a good 3 or 4 minutes. It's his bet. You could be 8 of us playing. We're not even really playing. We're there to eat snacks and talk. But Matt's playing. He's engaged with the game. But he's like 3 or 4 minutes. And Jack will tell you, anytime he's doing that, you know he's going to fold. It's going to be 3 or 4 minutes before he goes, no, can't risk it. And he lost all the time. Lost. Always losing. Until we used to take the mickey out of him. And then something changed in him. And I think it was when you changed job. When you stepped out and it started becoming more sort of embracing risk and change. And he decided every now and again, you know, I'm going to bet. And that's when he started winning. I liked playing with you before. You used to let me win. I didn't have any skill and I could win still. All because of that being afraid of risk and loss. And now I don't want to play him anymore because he'll beat me. I'm only joking. So who's a play it safe kind of person? Are you a play it safe kind of person? Let's see. Let's do some testing. These are obviously clinically proven tests. What do you order in a restaurant when you go? Same thing. Order the same thing. Some of you go to the same restaurant, order the same thing, and have to order it the same way. If they don't have it on the menu, you're like, do we go home? Do we, what? There's a panic going on. I'm not sure about this. I haven't planned ahead. Some people in the room will look at a menu 3 or 4 days before they get there to make sure they've got the thing that they can have. And if not, they might pull out or call a sick or ask to change restaurant. Someone else in the room, I'm not pointing any fingers, I haven't even looked at the menu when the waitress or waiter comes over and goes, yes, please. And the rest of the table that I'm ever with are like, oh, come on, mate. And it's not, I'm still quicker than him. He still looks at the menu, oh, no, it's because he's wondering should I have that extra side of fries or whatever. Where I literally look at the menu and I just go, that one. And it's probably because I'm a pig and I'll eat anything. And so, but what type of person are you? Where do you go on holiday? Same place every time? I actually fall in that category. Go to a very similar place, just a different Airbnb within that place. See, I'm pushing the boat out. Same place, Or do they have to speak the same language as you? Because otherwise it's too risky. Does the thought of starting your own business excite you or terrify you? Are you a play it safe kind of person? During COVID, I hate to bring it up, but were you the sort of person who double masked? Or the sort of person who'd forget their mask and then have to drive all the way back home to be able to legally go in a store, to go in the store? Like, which one are you? Are you a play it safe kind of person? Do you encourage your kids to climb the slide that's really tall when they're 1 year old? This is definitely me. I'll be across the garden. My little daughter, 3, she's at the top of our all wobbling around, and I'm like, she'll be all right, it's on grass. And I've got 4 kids, so like... Or are you someone who's still holding your 5-year-old, 7-year-old's hand up a slide that's for a 3-year-old? When they're 21, it's a bad look. Do you invest your money in a high-risk, high-yield investment, or in a stable, low-yield, making sure... I don't know why I've done the voice. In fact, I done the voice last time I done this message, I remember. I've just got these grooves I can't get out of. If you're single in here, or when you were, would you approach someone or ask someone out who's completely out of your league? Or would you not and stare at your feet in the corner because they're pretty? Are you a play it safe kind of person? Here's one that my wife doesn't like. Would you like or let your child or spouse ride a motorbike? There's no way my wife would. Not a chance. Not a chance. Joel's like, that's not fair. Are you a play it safe kind of person? When the light's yellow, some Americans in the room, you have different lights. They just go like, red, green, that's it, nothing in between. In England, if you haven't worked it out already, it goes red, then yellow, which means get ready to go. I don't know why you need to get ready to go. It's because we have actual cars with transmissions instead of just go pedals. And so red and green, and then it goes to green. But on the way back, it just goes to yellow, which means it's going to be red in a minute instead of just going to red. So if you're more me, it's like that means stop. That means you're allowed to keep going until it turns red. So you accelerate to the lights to get through. Some of you are like that. Others of you are slow down just in case because it might turn red at any moment. And the 3 people behind you are going, come on! Are you a play it safe kind of person? In relationships, are you it's better to be alone and not get hurt than risking being hurt? There's all kinds of ways that we can play it safe. Are you a play it safe kind of person? Do you play it safe? Because some of them are indicators that maybe we do play it safe. But you know, one place I struggle to find people who were successful anyway and very rarely played it safe. The place we find that is in the Bible. Hardly any people of renown played it safe in the Bible. And on the occasion that they did, or the occasions that they did, they often God was not happy with them. You know, when Joseph had his early dreams of, you know, when his daddy gave him a nice coat, daddy loved him, youngest son, he didn't play it safe when he was explaining to his brothers, his older brothers, you are going to bow down before me one day. You know, that's a really dumb thing to do. I've got older siblings. I was the youngest of 4. If I'd done that, I'd have got beaten up. I would have got beaten up and put in my place. And so Joseph did, but even worse, beaten up, put in his place, which was in a pit. But he ended up in the palace where God wanted him to be, but he didn't play it safe. I'm not sure I would have told my brothers that. Moses didn't play it safe. When he went to the most powerful man in the world, he went to Pharaoh, the most powerful man in the world at the time, and on demand he said, I want you to let the most valuable thing you've got, which is the thing that's running your economy, that's actually stabilizing you, is the foundation of what makes you powerful, that power that you're putting over them people, them slaves. Oh, by the way, I want you to let them go. He didn't play it safe when he didn't want to do it. God had to be like, you're going to do it. Off you go. Here's your brother. Go and help you. But he didn't play it safe when he went and done it. Joshua didn't play it safe by what I would have done, going around Jericho. That's what I would have done. It's like, we've got to get to the promised land, and there's this big city in the road with a big wall. Just like, I'd have just been, let's just go round. And I don't mean go round and round and round like he did until the walls come down. I wouldn't have, in the natural, done that, but he didn't play it safe when he penetrated the impenetrable city. Daniel didn't play it safe when he refused to pray to Darius and was put in the lion's den. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego didn't play it safe when they refused to worship the golden idol and they ended up in a furnace. They didn't play it safe. They just like, no, it's dangerous, but I'm going to do it anyway. David didn't play it safe when Saul continued to want to kill him. We listened to this, was it last week or the week before, with King Saul trying to kill what would be King David over and over again. And he didn't play it safe. David didn't play it safe when that was even happening around him, yet he repeatedly put himself in danger over and over again in the hope for reconciliation with Saul. He put himself in the firing line in the search for doing the right thing. Not the safe thing, the right thing. Peter didn't play it safe when he stepped out of that boat. Can you imagine? Like, the others must have been like, what are you doing, mate? Jesus is over there and you just stand out in the water. What do you think is going to happen? You're going to get wet, dude. But he didn't play it safe when he stepped out of the boat and walked on the water. And when he did play it safe, and I mean was led by his flesh of what was safety to keep him safe from danger, when he did, that was the time that he shouldn't have been doing it. And remember when Jesus said to him, you're going to deny me 3 times, and Peter's like, no, I'm not. I've got my knife. I'll cut anyone's ear off. And then he was in that situation where he might have had the same fate as Jesus and been tortured and put on a cross and put to death just for associating with him. And in them times, then 3 times that it happened, he's like, no, nothing to do with me. I've got the same sort of accent. I don't associate. I don't know who you're talking about. Nothing to do with me. And that's the times that God's like, I'm not happy with that. But that was the time he was playing it safe. Or when Peter didn't eat with the Gentiles. Remember it said in Scripture when he was eating with all the Gentiles, and then some people of high regard came, friends of James came, and all of a sudden he's like, I better not do that anymore, just in case they think this of me. And the Apostle Paul come and was like, rebuked him and said, what are you doing? What you're doing is wrong. You're just putting on this performance. You're scared, mate. You're scared of what other people think. You're playing it safe, socially playing it safe to make sure everyone likes you or is impressed with you or think you're godly or spiritual or whatever. You're bang out of order, Peter. So when Peter did play it safe, it was usually the wrong choice. Talking about the Apostle Paul, a man who on nearly every occasion, like you read Scripture, nearly on every occasion refused to play it safe. He was like the opposite. He was like the extreme. You can imagine if it was a job where someone had to bungee jump or jump out of a plane, Paul would be like, I'll do it. He used one of his tents he made to fly down. But even before he met Jesus, when he's persecuting the church, he didn't play it safe. He was just that way wired. He was zealous, it said. Zealous about hunting down Christians and killing them. And then he met Jesus. When in front of Festus on trial, it wasn't arrogant, but must have come across like that, arrogant and rude to the people in authority to say, put me before Caesar. I want to go all the way to Caesar. I'm a Roman citizen. That's not playing it safe. Imagine you've been arrested and they just got to say, you just got to be quiet and stop doing this. Most of us would be like, all right, I'll pay the fine. Just let me out. I'm scared. But not Paul. He's like, I want to see your boss. I'd like to speak to the manager, please. That's basically what he was doing. When Paul was preaching all around the Mediterranean rim, talking to every religious person, every religious group, can I tell you, that is not playing it safe. That was dangerous. He risked offending them greatly, not just like in our way of like, oh, I don't like you. You offend them greatly, you're going to die. He put his life at risk when he said, you know all these gods you've got, because this is what happened. All these gods, you've got all these statues of all these gods, and then you've got one with nothing on. You might remember the story. There's just a plinth with nothing on, the unknown God. And Paul basically went, all your gods, they're not real. This God is real, and it's Yahweh, it's God, it's Jesus coming. That's the only God, the only way, the only way, the only way. That wasn't playing it safe. I don't know, I'm not sure even many of us would do that in a different culture today, just mentioning, by the way, have you heard of Jesus? No? Okay, shh. He didn't play it safe. Why did he live a life like this? Why did Paul live a life like that? And some of you might think, well, he was just personality wired that way, genetically predetermined to have them sort of functions. Probably, that's why God used him for so many things like that. But I'd argue, in addition, it's because Jesus never played it safe. It's like Jesus hardly ever played, I can't recall a time in Scripture where he played it safe. And Jesus was Paul's model. And so maybe Paul had the proclivity to be, seeking risk, but he also followed the model that was Jesus. And perhaps he should be our model too. Mine and yours. Not the Apostle Paul, only when he follows Christ, like he says, but Jesus. So the question we're asking today is, should we play it safe? Or perhaps for some of you in the room, should we always play it safe? Because if you ask Paul, his answer would be nope. If you ask my son Joel, his answer would be nope. And I tend to agree with them. And it is one thing that I do love about my boy Joel, is that he won't play it safe. And in many regards, I can learn a lot from that boy. And if you ask Jesus, should we always play it safe? I've got a feeling he would have the same response. So should we play it safe? And it's, again, I'm back to the conflict of the playground of fun versus safety. Should we play it safe? The sensible answer is yes. It is. But I would argue Jesus wouldn't agree. And we'll come to that next time as we discuss this series of playing it safe. Let's pray.